Okay, guys, we are back for part 2 of our fraction. So we talked about how a fraction is measuring a part of something or how something is divided, and it has a denominator which tells you what size it is. It also has a numerator which tells you how many there are. So the number on the top of a fraction would be the numerator. And so the number on the bottom is telling you what size. Do you have a half? Do you have thirds? Do you have fourths? Do you have 25ths? What size is it? How many of them do I need in order to make a whole? And then the number on the top is telling you how many you actually have. Okay, so it tells how many of that size. It's kind of a weird sentence. So if I have a half, then I have one of the pieces, and then it's the size of half. It would take two of them to make a whole. So that's kind of how we're thinking about that. So here's an example of a half. So if I have one of them, then that 2 makes a whole. So you can see that I have 1 here, 2 makes a whole, and that's my size. Okay, if I have this one right here is divided into thirds, notice it would take 3 of them to make a whole. So that's a thirds, 2 of them are colored. So 2/3 is my fraction there. 2 is my numerator, 3 is my denominator. That's telling me what size I have. Okay, this next one is divided into fourths. Notice 4 of them make a whole. So fourths is my denominator, and I have 3 of them shaded in, which would mean I have 3/4. You could also ask how many are not shaded, and in that case, this one right here would be 1/4. When we put them together, we get a whole. So we're talking about a size and how many of that size. Now think about these. What would you rather have? Would you rather have a half, a third, or a whole, or a fourth? So if you think about that, looking at these, as the number in the denominator gets bigger, the size of your piece gets smaller. And so it's a little bit different from how we normally think about things. So it's good to always have a picture when we're talking about fractions to help us. Okay, the next one, my size, my denominator is fifths. I have 5 of them make a whole, and 3 of them are colored. So 3/5 is my fraction for that one. And then I think I have one more. This one is divided into sixths. Right? 6 of them would make a whole, and in this case, 3 are shaded. So I have 3/6. So notice the denominator is the size that I'm talking about, and the numerator is how many I am talking about. All right, so let's take a look at some more fractions, and let's see if you can come up with what the answer for these are before I do. Now, again, I'm going to go kind of quickly, so make sure that if you want more time, you pause it. You just pause it after I show it. Take a minute, figure it out, and then I'll show you the answer. Okay, so look at this one. Think about how many of them make a whole. What is our size? And then how many are shaded? Okay, you should have got 1/8. So 1/8 is my size. 1 of them are shaded. This one is the same size. So we kind of have an idea there. Only one of them is not shaded. So you should have had 7/8. Okay, this one is divided into fourths. One of them is shaded, so it would be 1/4. So my size is fourths. One of them is shaded. Okay, if you want to take some time, pause it and think through these real quick. Okay, and then when you come back, we've got all 3 of these are divided into sixths. Notice that sixth pieces make a whole. So each of these is going to have a sixth in the denominator. This first one will be 4/6. The second one will be 5/6, and the sixth one, or the third one, is a whole, so it's 6/6. So I have all of them. I have all my pieces. So anytime you have the numerator and the denominator the exact same, you have one whole thing. So it doesn't matter how big that number is, it will always be a whole. It's kind of an interesting thing. Okay, pause it if you need a minute to look at these ones. Okay, the size of these is fifths. I have 5 different shapes to make my whole. So my first one, only 4 of them are shaded in, so I would have 4/5. And my second one, there we go. I have them all shaded in, and so that means my numerator and denominator should be the exact same, showing that they make up one whole. Okay, last one, pause it. Okay, so again, these are fifths. One of them is shaded, so it's 1/5. And 2 of them are shaded, so it's 2/5. You could also talk about this the other way, that if I have how many are not shaded would be 3/5, 4/5. Notice how they kind of go together. Okay, so if you have any questions with fractions, if you have anything that you need help with, let me know.